Oh, God, it's Friday, and President Trump has gone after Joe Biden over his latest campaign misstep. This after the 2020 frontrunner had a slip of the tongue in Iowa.
We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. No, I really mean it, but think how we think about it.
Well. The vice president quickly corrected himself, but that didn't stop President Trump from taking a swipe at Joe Biden.
Look, Joe is not playing with a full deck. He made that comment. I said, whoa, I saw it because I was on something. I had a television. I saw his comment. Joe Biden is not playing with a full deck. This is not somebody you can have as your president. But if he got the nomination, I'd be thrilled.
Oh, my God. So I don't want to get into the substance. Let me get into the superficial. So Joe Biden has been known to misspeak from time to time. It really was a slippery slope, but he quickly gained his footing and got it right and said, wealthy kids.
You're really dancing on this one, aren't you?
I am dancing. You want to, look, yeah, but you know what? He picked this step
but he
up.
always slips with black people. Remember, Obama wasn't educated, articulate.
He was clean. He was clean.
Clean. And with the Democrats already having a problem, not with the black vote, but black voters actually showing up to the polls, even though they may not vote for Republicans, they may stay at home because the Democratic Party is not doing a good job to get those voters. And look, I'm sorry. If this is the best that the Democrats have to go against Donald Trump, it's going to be a sad day.
But I know you're leading the segment, Don, but I'll ask you, isn't it true that so far Joe Biden's been able to hold the highest amount of support for African-American voters so far?
His support among African-Americans after Kamala Harris went after him in the first debate, his support almost doubled. She had a double-digit, percentage with black voters. After that, quote-unquote, interchange, Joe Biden's support went up. Look, I don't think this is about taking anyone for granted because we know that black voters right now are still with Democratic candidates. What I do believe is that Joe Biden, when he's having these riffs, talking about every child deserves a shot, every child he slips. Maybe in his mind, he thought white, but he was trying to say wealthy. I don't know how you make that slip, but he made it.
I mean, I tend to agree with you, but I just know that if a Republican would have done that, God, it would have been barbecued. But his gaffes aren't new. What's new is when he gets through a thought without a gaffe. There was I think one of our producers has an interesting piece of tape. Do we have that? Let's listen to this. Thank you.
We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
So, I mean, that to me is better than the other, because he's almost, this is the biggest fight of his life, and he's doing it in his 8th decade. I would be if I was Democratic Party, I would be worried. This is early.
But Diana, do you recall how many gaffes that President Trump made in the last 6 weeks of the 2016 election?
I do, except for I feel like kind of what's happening with Biden, like the people who supported President Trump, it just made them even more endeared to him, and I think that happens for Biden as well.
But here's the thing. Here's what people should know about Joe Biden. He has one of the best civil rights record of any politician running today, and I say that out of respect for a lot of people, including Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, etc. The fact is that he's been on the front lines fighting civil rights, equal justice.
I don't know if black and black boys
I don't think this is going to hurt him. Yeah, but I think Joe Biden will be careful next time.
Has Biden freed a rapper?
But Trump has. He said Joe Biden is the Teddy Ruxpin of gaffes. You drop a quarter and a gaff comes out. Remember? Yeah. And it wasn't even the Obama's clean line. That was awful enough. It was that remember the line? He was the first African-American, not the first black man or woman I've ever met who was clean and articulate. Yet if a Republican had said that, it would be over. But this is fascinating, your standard here. He has a good record on civil rights.
He has a great record.
So Donald Trump, historically low black and Latino unemployment, and yet everything Donald Trump says is a dog whistle. Donald Trump's talking on the phone. That's a dog whistle. He's a racist. Wait, no, hold on. Because Donald Trump lowered flags to half staff on August 8th. Numerology guy from the FBI goes on MSDNC and says, this is clearly a reference to the Aryan Brotherhood in a prison. You're like, is this guy insane? So what I don't get is there a standard here or not? Is Joe Biden then going to be held to account by the media?
You said MSDNC. Was that a slip?
No, that is what they do. They're
all right, I just wanted to make sure.
They had a really rough week.
Well, here's what I do know is that Joe Biden is strong. If he wins the Democratic nomination, we don't know. I believe he will get 90% more of the black vote.
How is that not a dog whistle? Slipping of the tongue by going, when you say something like, hey, they're as smart as the white kids.
He's saying poor kids. Poor. He didn't say black kids. He said poor kids.
Yeah, but what does that do with being white?
Poor kids.
Listen.
He corrected himself. He misspoke. He did not say
he makes these
poor
mistakes
kids.
all the time.
Well, y'all, look, without Joe Biden, we wouldn't have anything to talk about on Friday.
Yeah, but wait, can I just make one point? The gaffes to your point about Trump and the gaffes of Biden, Trump's gaffes don't seem related to age, whereas Biden, it makes it feel like he's slowing. He's slowing down. I think that's the concern.
Yeah, I think that people might say Trump's gaffes were related, like they bring up other connotations, not age.
Oh,
right. It's like that he's mean or that he's like, that I think
insensitive.
Trump
is getting younger.
Supporters.